Hi.
Hi.
How about that this took everyone's eardrums out?
Huh?
How about that this took everyone's eardrums out?
Yeah. What do you think about all that dirt?
Yeah.
So anyway, we probably have a cheaper heating bill and cooling bill now because the HVAC ductwork doesn't leak into the basement, and there was a couple of other. They were more sort of hedges against future repair bills as opposed to need to get done to stop damage. Things like clogged up downspouts. Obviously in spring there's going to be a lot of rain and you don't really need rainwater falling on the outside of the house. It's much easier to direct it down a downspout and away from the property. So, yeah, that's a thing. And then, of course, we had teenage Osa's birthday, her brother's birthday, and the 7-year-old boy who comes over to visit became 7. So there was a fair number of birthdays last month as well. So this month, recovering. Next month is extra paycheck month, which we like. So in that will definitely balance things up. Because I don't think the thing is since we bought the lumber for the planters and everything else and my benches, I don't need any more lumber. I might need some what are they? Plywood sheets. But I'm only buying small ones and then trying to cut them as efficiently as I can. Didn't notice too much of a drop in speed coming up there. But yes, I've got one sheet. I'm going to need probably about 2 or 3 more. And then once I've done that, I'm going to get some insulation foam for sound dampening. I have a 50-foot roll of cork, so I don't need to buy any more of that. And then I have all of the flexible track that I need to at least make 2 rounds. And the initial plan is to make 2 circles so I can run trains round. And once I can run trains round, it gives me the ability to do a little bit more locomotive maintenance and testing, as opposed to, well, I've just serviced this locomotive, but it goes back in the box for 6 months or a year until I can get it out and run it. So, given 2 loops, that will make at least that task a bit easier. Or give me a little bit more incentive to actually fix things. And then I'm running down the middle of the basement on 2 sides. So the idea is one side is going to be fairly plain. It's going to be countryside, possibly sheep. I've been browsing, not necessarily shopping, and I did find a company that produces sheaves of wheat and corn stalks and withered corn stalk, surprisingly enough, but sort of thing that I could actually consider buying that for a countrywide scene, countryside scene. Barn full of straw bales, that type of thing. It's sort of stuff that you look at and you say, oh yeah. So I'm kind of browsing stores to get ideas as opposed to browsing stores to build up a supply of stuff that I may or may not end up using. But going through the countryside, there's not going to be a lot in the way of trackside infrastructure. You'll just have two tracks meandering through the countryside. And I am planning to meander rather than as straight as the crow flies. Just because it makes it look more interesting, and with the countryside I don't have to worry about models of buildings or stuff like that, or where I do have a model of a building, it's going to be a small cottage on the side of a country lane, which is probably going to be a dirt track. And then once I've done that side, the electrics are going to be easy because again there's going to be no switches, there's not going to be any sectional control, so it's just a matter of positive on one side, negative on the other side, and pay. Simple. Which allows me to get back into the swing of things. Also, track switches are very expensive. Comparatively speaking, you can get like 6 feet of straight track or one turnout, and then you need the motor for the turnout and a lot of other stuff, and that pushes you up to 12-15 feet of straight track for a single turnout. And if you're doing, I'm planning to do a fairly major sort of country station, small town station, which will probably need to have a small freight yard, possibly 2 or 3 tracks, but all of those add up to make for a little bit more expense. I mean, even on the countryside side, I'm probably going to need some form of signalling there. So that's a couple of motors and switches for mechanical signals. We won't have light. Modern day lighting signals, but maybe street lights in places. It's all sort of stuff, but it the simplicity of countryside allows me to approach tasks without feeling too overwhelmed. You get to a small town and okay, I need a row of houses. How many do I want? 10. Okay, so I need to buy 10 kits, make 10 kits. And I don't have... Mrs. Osa has a crafting room, so I may claim part of that for assemblage of stuff. Maybe painting stuff, although I'm thinking probably painting will happen in the basement, where it's a little bit easier to vent. But that was the other thing. Mrs. Osa was like, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas this year? Do you want a 3D printer?" I said, "I would like a 3D printer, but until I start making models, I'm not going to use a 3D printer." And I've got I've got a Dremel, and I've probably used that 2 or 3 times for some small tasks. Obviously, when you get to modelling as you get to the detail of modelling, the Dremel's going to be out most of the time. But for right now, it's sitting and gathering dust. So I'm kind of now, yes, I would, and we've almost stopped. My birthday is immediately prior to Christmas, but we've pretty much stopped buying each other Christmas and birthday presents. And it's more, it's a token. Here's a token present. But when you decide you need the big thing, like a 3D printer or a cutting machine or something like that, we'll just go and buy that mid-year when we have the money, as opposed to we'll wait until Christmas to buy it. Because I don't need it at Christmas, I might not need it for 2 years. So it just makes more sense to buy it as and when. Okay, well that was easy. 10:30 in the morning, and we have got all the things done on the farm. So back that into there. Oh, actually, there is one thing I could do here. I still have the loader arms for the Renault, which of course we don't need those anymore. And I've got nothing I can take them back to the store with. I've also got that bucket and pallet fork. Like I said, I don't need those anymore. But not since we bought the Malo, and I don't have any attachments for the Malo except for a bucket. Because that's all we're really using it for at the moment, is shoveling up silage. So, it is what it is. You first need to feed the tool. I do indeed need to feed the tool. You do not need to tell me that. So I still have some solid fertilizer, or some dehydrated fertilizer, liquid fertilizer down at the store. So we should be able to fill this tank up with that. And I'm not going to use this for spraying. We don't have the crop sensors on this tractor. Although, thinking about it, crop sensors are, something you attach to the rearview mirrors and run a cable into the tractor to a screen. Now, if we jump into the tractor, there's that metal bar there. There's that metal bar there. I could mount, you could mount a crop sensor thing there. That's going to plug into your sprayer. It just won't be all nicely tucked away. You'll be, I'll need to drape some wire out through the back window type of thing. But it could be done to, it's the sort of thing that you can do to an older tractor. Obviously, you can install GPS, but guidance steering is probably not going to happen on a tractor like this, because there's not enough automatic stuff inside it. But as I said, some things, even like balers. Balers have an auto little panel you can mount in the tractor, so you can monitor the bale and everything else. And I need to go off mic for a minute. Okay, I'm back. So a couple of short trips down to the store, we'll pick up the fertilizer, we'll unload it into the tank on the farm, and there. I'll have a look, see what contracts are out there. But we might skip through 2 or 3 days just monitoring the price of these grass fields. See if anything comes up. Now, as far as calendar, corn is planted in May, so May is going to be a big heavy month because we are going to cut all of the grass. So this field to our right, there's another one further along. The 2 behind us, we're just going to blitz all of the grass fields that we own that have a reasonable level of grass in them and get them into the bunker and compacting. As we clear these fields out, we'll be mulching if possible, replanting them with maize, except our common grass field to the northeast side of the farm, and the interior 4 fields, however many we own by then. So that's that. Once we've done all those things, the maize is planted, then we'll be into April, May, June. June will be fertilizing the maize and the grass, and weeding the maize, and working our way around to crashing into a tree. So anyway, lots of things coming up for the farm. Still a couple of 100 hours behind the what was the last farm we played on here?
Can you make us some rolls? Because kids never gonna like that. She said she's going to wake up at 10 o'clock. It looks like almost 10. Which I bet she's only going to wake up. It's like at 9:30 something, 9:40 something.
Second breakfast.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, we've got a lot of things coming up. The maize will be cut, or the maize will be planted, and then we'll be getting into harvest season. So next month, Mizzy, because obviously we've got the weeding and the spraying on the field we just planted. So that needs to get all done. Tractor's definitely a good purchase. It's as I said, it's a cheap and cheerful. Got a reasonable sized engine. I didn't go for the 4 horsepower because that added chip tuning adds about 30,000 to the price of the tractor, and it's like it's not really worth that. If I'm going to get a 250 horsepower tractor, I'm going to get one that's minimally capable of 250 horsepower. Plus, we're kind of looking for complements to the Zerion 3000 as opposed to anything in the smaller mid-range. The Massey Ferguson has the facility to upgrade the engine. I think I got that with the smallest engine possible. This was just the cheapest possible because it's a used tractor that doesn't start out very pricey. Obviously, it is a little bit bigger than the Renault. The Renault is classed as a small tractor. This is a medium tractor, but I don't need any small tractors. Potentially ever. We've got the Malo, which can do a lot of small jobs around the farm. But also, if I do need something to drive through cow barns and what have you, that's still a ways off yet. I honestly can't remember what my old farm was. So this is the first time in Farming Simulator I've actually ended a series and started a new one for the Saturday series. Prior to this, we were running Lawfolds on Farm Sim 17, which I really enjoyed playing that farm. And then we played Oakfield Farm on 19, which again we went blitz on. For 22, both the maps have been Cavalier Roy maps, which is kind of new for me. But,